When I first started baking, I was amazed by the difference between fresh bread and store-bought bread, and how easy it was to make. So today, I'm going to be going over how to make your first loaf of bread. Let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to need is a bench scraper. These can be found in most department stores for only about $5 to $10. They're an excellent tool, and I'd recommend them for more than just baking. It's an excellent tool just to have around the kitchen. Next up is our measuring cups and our whisk. When we're cooking or baking, it's essential to be exact in our measurements and to use the proper tools. So these are must-haves. They can be found near about anywhere, so go ahead and pick yourself up some. We're going to be using one mixing bowl for this process, wood preferably, as the dough won't stick to it as much, but any bowl would work. Last, we're going to need a Dutch oven. You can find these in most department stores or online for about $40 to $50. Alright guys, let's start cooking. When first starting out, we'll be adding 350 grams or 2 3/4 cups of bread flour to our mixing bowl. Then we'll add 90 grams or 3/4 cups of whole wheat flour to our bowl. Whisk that mixture together until it's homogeneous. Then proceed to add 350 grams of water, or 2 3/4 cups of water, and whisk until you inevitably discover that it's getting way too thick, and just go in with your hands and start kneading it. Continue until everything comes together, and then let rest with a kitchen towel for an hour. Next, we will be adding 90 grams of sourdough starter. Sourdough starter is a complex ingredient, so I can't go in detail about making it here. It's quite a long process. However, if you wish to make some, I have a link in the description that describes the process in detail. We're going to pour the starter over our dough, making sure to get as much of it out as we can. Spread the starter out over the surface of the dough, then pinch one side of the dough, stretch and pull it up before folding over to the other side. We're going to make sure to continue until our sourdough starter is fully incorporated into the dough. Once the starter is fully incorporated, cover with a kitchen towel and allow to rest for 30 minutes. Next, we will be adding 9 grams or 1.5 teaspoons of salt to our dough. We'll be doing the exact same process of pinching and folding the dough until the salt is fully incorporated. Cover with a kitchen towel and then let rest for another 30 minutes. Next up, we will need to strengthen our dough. In order to do this, we're going to perform something called a stretch and fold. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put olive oil over our hands so the dough doesn't stick to our hands, and then we're going to grab the side of the dough, pinch it up, pull it up, and fold it over on itself. Then we are going to turn it 90 degrees, and then we're going to pull it up and fold it over on itself once again. We're going to continue doing this until we do all 4 sides, after which we are going to cover it up and let it rest for 15 minutes. We're going to repeat this 6 times with 15 minutes in between each time. After all 6 sets, we're going to let it rest for 1.5 hours to 2 hours. After about 2 hours, your dough should have proofed to about double in size. This means that it's ready to be shaped. The first thing that we are going to do is we're going to try to take the dough out of the bowl without degassing it. Once the dough is onto our countertop, we're going to start using our bench scraper. Using our bench scraper, we're going to move quickly underneath the dough. We're going to move it in a circular rotation, and at the end we're going to pull it towards ourselves. At the end of this process, our dough will want to stay more into a ball shape, which is exactly what we're looking for. We are then going to pick up our dough using our bench scraper and place it into a bowl that has been lined with a sheet of parchment paper that has been coated with flour. Afterwards, we're going to cover with a kitchen towel and place it in the fridge for 12 hours or overnight. The next morning we are going to preheat our oven to 400 with our Dutch oven inside. Once it hits temperature, we are going to take it out and place it onto a rag on our countertop. Taking out our dough, we're going to check to see if it's proof enough. To test this, we're going to poke the dough, and if it comes up slowly, it's proof enough. If it comes up too fast, the dough needs to go back into the fridge for just a little bit longer. If our bread is proof enough, we pick it up and transfer it to our Dutch oven, being careful not to scorch our hands. While the dough is in the pot, we are going to score it. To score it is to cut a marking into the top of the bread. While this is not necessary, it will make the bread look nicer whenever it comes out of the oven. We're going to bake it for 20 minutes with the lid on, and then 10 to 15 minutes more with it off, and so the top of our bread is nice and golden. In the end, we should have a nice round loaf of sourdough bread. Simply take it out of the pot and allow it to cool for an hour. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned more about the bread making process.